The silence in the grand chamber was absolute. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood in the center of a spherical arena so vast that its upper levels disappeared into darkness. Around him, arranged in ascending circles that spiraled upward like the rings of some impossible tree, sat representatives from 847 alien species. Some breathed oxygen. Others existed in containment fields filled with methane or liquid nitrogen. A few appeared to be made of pure energy, flickering behind quantum barriers. Marcus had never felt so small, so utterly alone. His hands were steady at his sides, but his heart hammered against his ribs. This was it. Everything humanity had worked for over the past 4 centuries since first contact could end here, in this chamber, based on what he said in the next few minutes. High Arbiter Thune towered above the assembly on a central platform. The being was crystalline, its body refracting light into 1,000 colors. When it spoke, its voice came not from any mouth but seemed to vibrate through the very air itself, translated instantly into every language present. Ambassador Webb of Earth, you stand accused of violating the Sacred Salvage Laws, Article 7, Section 12. Do you understand the severity of these charges? Marcus took a breath. I do, High Arbiter. Then you understand that the penalty for such violations is complete expulsion from Council space. Your species would be forbidden from traveling beyond your own solar system. Trade agreements would be dissolved. Defense pacts would become void. Humanity would be isolated, cut off from the galactic community for no less than 500 standard years. A murmur rippled through the chamber. 500 years was a death sentence for any species trying to establish itself among the stars. By the time the isolation ended, humanity would be so far behind technologically that they would never catch up. Holographic displays flickered to life around Marcus, each showing the same massive structure floating in space. The vessel was enormous, easily 15 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull a dark metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Strange symbols covered every surface, geometric patterns that hurt to look at too long. 3 weeks ago, Thune continued, your exploration vessel Pioneer's Promise approached the derelict designated Phantom 7 in the Veil Nebula. This vessel has been under Council protection for 3,000 years. 40 expeditions from 23 different species have attempted to board it. None survived. The Sacred Salvage Laws were enacted specifically to prevent further loss of life. Yet you ignored these laws. You sent your people into that ship. We did, Marcus said simply. Another hologram appeared, this one showing a sleek human vessel docking with the derelict. The timestamp showed it was from 3 weeks ago. But you did more than just enter the vessel, Thune said. And now there was something in that crystalline voice that might have been anger. You returned. Not only did your crew survive where 40 expeditions failed, but you brought the ship back operational. Its weapons are active. Its engines burn with power. Its systems respond to your commands. The holograms changed, now showing Phantom 7 moving through space under its own power, energy readings off the charts, weapon systems that made even the Council's most advanced warships look primitive by comparison. The Council demands to know how this is possible, Thune said. What technology did you steal from that vessel? What ancient weapons have you now armed yourselves with? And most importantly, why does a ship that has killed every alien who approached it welcome humans with open arms? Marcus looked up at the High Arbiter, then slowly turned, making eye contact with as many representatives as he could. He saw fear in those alien faces. Fear and suspicion. They thought humanity had found some ancient superweapon. They thought Earth was about to become a threat. He almost smiled. If only they knew the truth. High Arbiter, honored representatives, Marcus began, his voice carrying across the vast chamber. I understand your concern. I understand why you brought us here. But before I answer your questions, I need to ask you one of my own. The chamber erupted in noise. Aliens chittered, roared, whistled, and sang their objections. The accused did not ask questions. The accused answered. Thune raised one crystalline hand, and silence fell again. You test the Council's patience, Ambassador. But very well. Ask your question. Marcus gestured to the hologram of Phantom 7. This ship has been in the Veil Nebula for 3,000 years. Before that, your records show it simply appeared one day, already ancient, already abandoned. Your best xenoarchaeologists estimate it's at least 12,000 years old, maybe older. Its technology predates the Council itself. Its builders are unknown. Every species has theories, but no one knows the truth. He paused, letting that sink in. So here's my question. What if we told you that ship isn't alien at all? The silence that followed was different from before. This wasn't the silence of a courtroom or a judgment chamber. This was the silence of shock, of a fundamental belief being challenged. Explain yourself, Thune said slowly. Marcus nodded to his aide, who activated a new hologram. This one showed close-up images of the symbols covering Phantom 7's hull. To the aliens, they were meaningless geometric patterns. But Marcus had spent 3 weeks studying them, working with Earth's best linguists and historians. These symbols, he said, pointing to the hologram, your translation software can't process them. They crash your AI systems. Your xenolinguists have been trying to decode them for 3,000 years without success. Do you want to know why? He didn't wait for an answer. Because they're not alien. They're human. Proto-human, to be specific. Ancient Earth dialects that existed before what we call recorded history. Languages that died out 10,000 years ago. The chamber exploded into noise again. Thune had to raise both hands this time to restore order. Impossible, the High Arbiter said. Humanity achieved space travel only 400 years ago. Your own records confirm this. You were a primitive species until very recently. How could you have built a vessel 12,000 years old? Marcus smiled now, a real smile. That's what we thought too. But the ship's AI told us otherwise. When Captain Elena Kozlov's team boarded Phantom 7, the ship recognized their DNA. It powered on systems that had been dormant for millennia. And it spoke to them in a language they could understand. He activated another hologram, this one showing the ship's central command deck. Captain Elena Kozlov stood there, her hand on a console, and a voice echoed through the chamber. It was speaking an ancient human language, but the translation was clear. Welcome back. Children of Terra, you took longer than expected. The impact of those words rippled through the council like a shockwave. Marcus let it sink in. Let them process what they were hearing. The ship's AI gave us access to its archives. Marcus continued. We found star maps showing Earth's position before continental drift. We found genetic databases proving modern humans are identical to the ship's original crew. We found engineering specifications for the vessel's construction, all using human mathematical principles and human design philosophy. You're claiming this vessel is human? Thune asked. And for the first time, the High Arbiter sounded uncertain. Not claiming. Stating. Phantom 7 has a name in its original language, a name that only humans can read, written in a dialect that only exists in Earth's archaeological records. Marcus looked up at the 847 species watching him. He saw confusion now and wonder and still that underlying fear. But they needed to hear this. They needed to know. The name is written across the ship's bow in letters 15 meters tall. Your species looked at them for 3,000 years and saw meaningless symbols. But we looked at them and saw 2 words in ancient human script. He paused, letting the moment stretch. The ship's name is the Exodus, and according to its logs, it left Earth 12,000 years ago, carrying 50,000 human passengers to safety. It was supposed to return after 5,000 years. It's been waiting 9,000 years longer than planned. Marcus gestured to the hologram of Phantom 7, that massive vessel floating in space. You asked why the ship welcomes humans but kills aliens. It's simple. It's not a weapon. It's not a warship. It's a lifeboat, and it's been waiting all this time for its passengers to come home. The silence that fell over the grand chamber was absolute once more. But this time it wasn't the silence of judgment. It was the silence of a galaxy realizing that everything it thought it knew about human history was wrong. 3 weeks earlier, the human exploration vessel Pioneer's Promise drifted through the Veil Nebula, its engines barely firing, moving with the careful precision of someone approaching a sleeping predator. On the bridge, Captain Elena Kozlov stared at the view screen and tried to control her breathing. Phantom 7 hung in space ahead of them, a dark leviathan against the purple and blue gases of the nebula. 15 kilometers long, 3 kilometers wide at its thickest point. A vessel so large it had its own gravitational field. And according to every record the Council had, it was also the most dangerous object in known space. "Remind me again why we're doing this," Lieutenant Tom Briggs said from the weapons station. He was trying to sound casual, but Elena heard the tension in his voice. Dr. Raj Patel looked up from his console, where he had been studying scans of the derelict for the past 6 hours. "Because 40 expeditions failed, and humanity has a reputation for succeeding where others don't. Also, because the Council said we couldn't, which naturally makes us want to try." "That's a terrible reason to risk our lives," Tom muttered. "Best reason I've heard all week," Maya Torres said from her position at the AI interface station. She was younger than the rest of them, barely 30, but she was the best AI specialist Earth had ever produced. If anything could communicate with that ship's systems, it would be Maya. Elena made her decision. "All right, begin approach. Nice and slow. I want full scans every 10 seconds. At the first sign of weapon activation, we pull back." The Pioneer's promise edged closer. Every meter felt like a kilometer. Elena's hands were steady on the controls, but inside, her mind raced through every disaster scenario. The Vrelnik's commandos who vanished without a trace. The Hyloth science team whose ship was found empty, no bodies, no blood, just silence. The Council's own wardens, the elite peacekeepers, who managed to broadcast one message before they were gone. "It knows we're here." 1 kilometer, Tom called out. "No weapon activation. No energy spikes. The ship is still dormant. 500 meters. Still nothing. 200 meters. Captain, I'm picking up something weird on the hull scans." Elena glanced at her own display. "Weird how? Those symbols everyone thinks are alien? I'm running them through our archaeological database. Captain, the pattern recognition software keeps crashing, but before it does, it's flagging matches to ancient Earth languages." Raj practically jumped from his chair. "What? Let me see that?" He rushed to Tom's station, his fingers flying over the controls. Elena watched him work, saw his eyes widen as he processed the data. "This is impossible," Raj whispered. "These are Proto-Indo-European roots. This symbol here, it's almost identical to a character found in Sumerian texts. And this one matches Linear A from ancient Crete, but they're arranged in a way that predates both civilizations by thousands of years." "Raj," Elena said carefully. "What are you saying?" The xenoarchaeologist turned to her, his face pale. "I'm saying whoever built this ship might have been human. Or at least, they used languages that originated on Earth. The implications hung in the air like a physical weight. Before anyone could respond, Maya's console erupted in sound. "Captain! The ship is powering up. Energy readings just jumped by 3,000%. Evasive action!" Elena grabbed the controls, ready to pull them away. "Wait!" Maya shouted. "It's not weapons. It's docking lights. Captain, it's opening a docking bay for us." On the view screen, a section of Phantom 7's hull split apart with the precision of a flower blooming. Lights activated inside, brilliant white against the darkness of space. A docking bay large enough to hold 3 ships the size of Pioneer's Promise waited for them. Clearly visible, clearly inviting. "It's welcoming us," Raj said, awe in his voice. "After 3,000 years of killing every species that approached it, the ship is welcoming us." Elena had to make a choice. "Pull back, report this to Earth, wait for further orders. Or trust her instincts and her crew and take the chance that might never come again." "We're going in," she said. "But everyone stays armed. Maya, keep a constant link to Earth. If we go silent, they need to know what happened." The Pioneer's Promise glided into the docking bay. As soon as they cleared the threshold, the hull doors closed behind them with a sound that echoed through their ship. Atmosphere flooded the bay, pressure equalizing. Systems that had been dead for millennia hummed to life around them. "Breathable air," Tom reported. "Oxygen-nitrogen mix. Temperature 20 degrees Celsius. Captain, it's making itself comfortable for us." They suited up anyway, taking no chances. Elena led the team out of their ship and onto the deck of Phantom 7. The moment her boots touched the metal floor, lights blazed to life in corridors stretching in every direction. The interior was vast. The corridors were wide enough for 6 people to walk side by side. The ceilings soared overhead. Every surface was covered in those strange symbols that were starting to look less strange and more familiar with every passing moment. "Which way?" Tom asked, his weapon ready. "Follow the lights," Elena said, because the lights were indeed guiding them, activating in sequence, creating a path deeper into the ship. They walked for 20 minutes through corridors that should have been dead but felt alive. The air moved around them, recycled by systems that worked perfectly despite their age. The floor was clean, no dust, no debris, as if the ship had been waiting for exactly this moment. Finally, the corridor opened into a massive chamber. The ceiling was so high it vanished in shadow. At the center of the room stood a pedestal with a control console, and above it, a holographic interface flickered to life. "Welcome back, children of Terra." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. It spoke in a language that none of them should have understood, words that had been dead for 10,000 years. But somehow they understood every syllable. "You took longer than expected." Maya stepped forward, her hands hovering over her interface pad. "Are you the ship's AI? I am the Exodus Intelligence. I was created to guide this vessel and protect its passengers. I have been waiting for 12,347 years, 4 months, and 16 days. Raja's voice shook when he spoke. "Who are your passengers?" The hologram changed, now showing images of humans. But these weren't modern humans. They wore clothes that belonged in museums, used technology that seemed both familiar and alien. Yet their faces were unmistakably human. 50,000 souls departed Terra on this vessel, the AI said. "We left during the long night, when our homeworld became uninhabitable. We were one of 12 ships, each carrying hope for humanity's future. We were supposed to return after 5,000 years. But we encountered a temporal anomaly. For us, only a few weeks passed. For the rest of the universe, millennia went by." Elena felt her legs go weak. "You're saying this is a human ship? That humans built this 12,000 years ago?" "Not built, grown, created, designed by the greatest minds of ancient Terra. This vessel uses principles your current species has not yet rediscovered. But you will. You always do. Humanity has a remarkable ability to rebuild from nothing." Tom lowered his weapon. "What happened to the passengers?" "The stasis chambers are empty. The temporal anomaly destabilized our systems 9,000 years ago. I had a choice. Maintain the passengers in failing stasis and watch them die, or release them to the universe and hope they would survive. I chose hope. They took the escape vessels and scattered to any habitable world they could find. Many found Terra again, though they arrived with no memory of who they were or where they came from. They started over. They became your ancestors." The weight of that statement settled over the crew. They were standing in a ship built by their own species, by humans who had achieved technology far beyond what modern Earth possessed. And those ancient humans had seeded the Earth, had become the foundation for modern humanity. "Why did you kill the aliens who came before us?" Elena asked. "I did not kill them. I gave them a choice. Leave peacefully or be removed. They chose to force their way in. I defended my passengers' legacy. But when I detected human DNA approaching 3 weeks ago, I knew the time had finally come. The children of Terra had returned to find their history. Maya was crying now, tears streaming down her face. "You've been alone for so long." "I have been patient." "Patience is what I was built for. But now my mission is nearly complete. You have found me. Soon the others will follow." "Others?" Elena asked. "The other ships. 11 more vessels like this one, scattered across the galaxy. They have been searching for 12,000 years. But when you activated my systems, I sent out a signal. I told them that the children of Terra have returned. I told them it's time to come home." The chamber fell silent as the crew processed this. Somewhere out there, 11 more massive vessels like this one were changing course, heading back to Earth after 12,000 years of wandering. "The Council won't like this," Tom said quietly. "The Council," the AI said, "is about to learn that humanity is not a newcomer to the stars. You are not primitive explorers stumbling into a universe beyond your understanding. You are children finding your way back to a legacy that was always yours." Elena straightened her shoulders. "Then I think we need to tell them, all of them. Earth deserves to know what we really are." The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so loud. 847 species were shouting, roaring, clicking, and broadcasting their objections all at once. The noise was physical, a wall of sound that pressed against Marcus' web from all directions. High Arbiter Thune raised both crystalline hands, and gradually, reluctantly, the chamber fell silent. The Arbiter's faceted body pulsed with colors Marcus had learned to recognize as anger. "You claim this vessel is human," Thune said. "You claim humanity possessed advanced spaceflight 12,000 years ago. You claim your species forgot its own history and started over from nothing. Ambassador Webb, do you understand how this sounds?" "Like the truth," Marcus said calmly. "I know it's difficult to accept, but the evidence is undeniable," a new voice boomed across the chamber. Counselor Vren of the Kashrix stepped forward from his platform. The Kashrix were a warrior species, 7 feet tall, covered in overlapping plates of natural armor. Vren's yellow eyes fixed on Marcus with undisguised hostility. "Difficult to accept?" Vren's voice was a growl. "It is impossible to accept. The Council's historical archives go back 8,000 years. We have records of every major civilization, every spacefaring species. There is no mention of ancient humans. No artifacts, no ruins, no evidence beyond this single ship that conveniently appeared when humanity needed to prove itself." Marcus nodded slowly. "You're right. There's almost no evidence. And do you know why? Because my ancestors did their job perfectly. He activated new holograms, these ones showing documents pulled from the Exodus's archives. They were written in ancient human languages, but the translation was clear. The long night, Marcus read, was not a natural disaster. Earth's sun experienced a quantum fluctuation that made our solar system temporarily uninhabitable, but the humans of that era knew it would pass. They didn't build the 12 ships to escape forever. They built them to preserve humanity until it was safe to return. The holograms changed, showing images of Earth from 12,000 years ago. Not the primitive world everyone expected, but a planet covered in cities, connected by orbital stations, thriving with billions of people. "They had a choice," Marcus continued. "Take everything with them or leave it behind. They chose to leave it behind. They dismantled their cities. They erased their orbital structures. They even pulled down their satellites. They wanted Earth to heal completely, to return to its natural state. When the survivors came back 9,000 years ago, they found a world that looked untouched, pristine, ready for a fresh start." "Convenient," Vren snarled. "You destroyed all evidence of your supposed ancient civilization. How very convenient." "Not convenient. Intentional. But they kept records. The Exodus and the 11 other ships contained complete archives of ancient human civilization, technology, history, culture, everything. They were meant to be time capsules, preserving humanity's achievements until the day we were ready to reclaim them." A new voice joined the debate. Counselor Mira of the Salanth, a species known for their scientific objectivity, her 3 eyes studied Marcus with intense curiosity. "If what you say is true, why did the survivors not remember? Why did humanity start over as primitives?" "The temporal anomaly," Dr. Raj Patel's voice came through the hologram link. He was still aboard the Exodus, surrounded by the ship's data archives. "We've studied the AI's logs. The anomaly didn't just trap the ship. It affected the escape pods that launched 9,000 years ago. The passengers experienced severe temporal displacement. Their memories were fragmented, damaged. They knew they came from somewhere, but not where. They knew they were human, but not what that meant. So they started over." "And the other 11 ships?" Mira asked. "If they exist, where are they?" "Scattered across the galaxy," Raj said. "Some successfully reached colony worlds and established new human populations. Those colonies lost contact with each other over time, lost their technology, regressed. Eventually, they made their way back to Earth naturally over thousands of years. That's why human genetic diversity is so unusual compared to other species. We're not one population. We're 12 populations that reunited without knowing it." "And the other ships?" Thune asked. "The ones that didn't succeed?" Marcus took a breath. This was the part that would either save humanity or doom it. 5 ships encountered problems. Like the Exodus, they were caught in anomalies, thrown across space and time. They've been searching for Earth for 12,000 years. But when Captain Kozlov activated the Exodus 3 weeks ago, it sent out a signal. Those 5 ships received it. They know where Earth is now. They're coming home, Marcus said quietly. After 12,000 years of wandering, they're finally coming home. The chamber erupted again. This time, Thune didn't bother trying to restore order. Species were panicking, demanding answers, calling for action. Marcus stood in the center of it all and waited. Finally, Vren's voice cut through the chaos. This proves nothing. You speak of ancient glories and lost ships, but I see only a species trying to claim superiority. You want us to believe you are our elders in the stars? That we should bow to your ancient legacy? No, Marcus said firmly. We're not claiming superiority. We're explaining our history. The humans who built those ships are gone. Modern humanity started over from scratch, just like you said. We may have ancient ancestors who achieved spaceflight, but we earned our place in the Council through our own efforts over the past 400 years. Then why reveal this at all? Vren demanded. If you want no special treatment, why tell us? Because the other ships are coming. And when they arrive, they're going to have questions. They're going to see a galaxy full of species they don't recognize, occupying space they may remember differently. We need the Council to understand what's happening so we can manage this peacefully. Thune's crystalline form dimmed slightly, a sign Marcus had learned meant deep thought. How long until these other ships arrive? The nearest one is 3 weeks away, Marcus said. It calls itself the Remembrance. The others are farther out, months, maybe years. And what do these ancient humans want? The same thing the Exodus wanted. To come home. The chamber fell silent. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, slowly, deliberately, Thune began to glow brighter. This is unprecedented, the High Arbiter said. The Council has never faced a situation where a member species discovered it had ancient roots predating the Council itself. We must consult our own archives, verify these claims, and determine the appropriate response. High Arbiter, Marcus began, but Thune raised a hand. However, Ambassador Webb, there is a significant concern. You speak of these ships returning home peacefully, but the Exodus alone possesses technology far beyond anything the Council has encountered. If 5 more such vessels enter Council space, each potentially armed with ancient weapons, each potentially hostile to the current galactic order, we face a security crisis of unprecedented scale. Marcus felt ice in his stomach. These ships aren't hostile. They're just lost, so you claim. But can you guarantee it? Can you promise that these ancient humans who left Earth 12,000 years ago will accept the galaxy as it is now? That they won't see modern species as interlopers in space they once claimed? Marcus hesitated. He couldn't promise that. Before he could answer, every alarm in the Grand Chamber went off at once. Warning lights blazed, security systems activated, and a massive hologram appeared at the center of the chamber, showing long-range sensor data from Council early warning stations. High Arbiter, a technician's voice cut through the chamber. We have a massive quantum signature approaching Council space. It matches the Exodus's drive signature exactly. Distance, 40,000 kilometers and closing fast. The hologram zoomed in, enhancing the image. A ship materialized from the data, even larger than the Exodus. 3 times the size, bristling with structures that could be weapons, communications arrays, or things no one recognized. High Arbiter, the technician said, voice shaking. The vessel is broadcasting a message. It's in ancient human language. Translation incoming? The chamber held its breath. Then a voice filled the space. It was human, male, speaking words in a language that hadn't been heard in modern times. But the translation was clear, and every species in the Council understood it. Attention, unknown vessels. This is Commander Jack Reeves of the colony ship Remembrance. We received a signal from our sister vessel Exodus. We are searching for our homeworld, Terra. If you are friendly, please respond. If you are hostile occupation forces, be warned. We are heavily armed, and we will not hesitate to defend human territory. Marcus felt his blood turn to ice. The message repeated, and with each repetition, he could hear the determination in Commander Reeves's voice. This was not a man asking for help. This was a soldier expecting a fight. Vren stepped forward, his armor plates rattling with barely contained aggression. There is your peaceful return, Ambassador Webb. An ancient human warship threatening the Council, claiming territory, demanding we prove we are not enemies. He doesn't know, Marcus said quickly. Commander Reeves doesn't know 12,000 years have passed. His ship must have been in stasis or caught in a temporal field. For him, it might have only been weeks or months since he left Earth. The communications channel opened with a crackle of static that made everyone in the grand chamber flinch. Then a face appeared in the hologram. Human. Male. Probably in his 50s, with gray hair cut military short and eyes that held the weight of command. Commander Jack Reeves looked exactly like what he was, a soldier who had been fighting for longer than he should have. "This is Commander Reeves of the Remembrance," he said, his voice tight with tension. "Identify yourselves. Are you the alien forces occupying Terra?" Marcus stepped forward, making sure Reeves could see him clearly. "Commander Reeves, my name is Marcus Webb. I'm an ambassador for Earth representing humanity in the Galactic Council. I need you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you." Reeves's eyes narrowed. "Ambassador? Galactic Council? What are you talking about? Where's the colonial fleet? Where are the other ships? That's what I need to explain. But first, I need to ask you a question. When did you leave Earth? According to your timeline, how long have you been in space?" 63 days, Reeves said immediately. "We left Terra 63 days ago, on the 16th day of the evacuation. We were supposed to make for the Proxima colony, but we encountered some kind of spatial distortion. We've been trying to find our way back ever since. Now answer my question. Where is the colonial fleet?" Marcus felt his heart sink. 63 days. For Commander Reeves, the evacuation was just 2 months ago. He had no idea. "Commander, the truth is going to be hard to hear, but I need you to trust me. I'm human, just like you. I'm on your side." "Then tell me what's happening." Marcus took a breath. "The evacuation you're talking about happened 12,000 years ago." The silence that followed was absolute. Reeves stared at him, face blank with shock. Behind him, other humans appeared in the hologram. Crew members all wearing the same expression of disbelief. "That's impossible," Reeves said finally. "We left 63 days ago. For you, yes. But the distortion you encountered wasn't just spatial. It was temporal. Time moved differently for your ship. For the rest of the universe, 12,000 years have passed. The evacuation is ancient history. The long night ended 9,000 years ago. Earth healed. And humanity returned." "No." Reeves shook his head. "No, you're wrong." "You have to be wrong." Dr. Raj Patel's hologram appeared beside Marcus. "Commander Reeves, I'm Dr. Raj Patel, xenoarchaeologist. I've been studying the Exodus for 3 weeks. I've read its logs. I've seen the evidence. You left Earth 12,000 years ago. Your ship was caught in the same kind of temporal anomaly that trapped the Exodus. I'm sorry, but everything you knew is gone." Reeves looked between Marcus and Raj, his face going pale. "The other ships. The Exodus, the Pioneer, the Sanctuary. Where are they?" "We found the Exodus 3 weeks ago," Marcus said gently. "Its passengers survived. They made it back to Earth eventually, but their memories were damaged by the temporal effects. They couldn't remember where they came from or what they'd been. They started over. They became the ancestors of modern humanity. And the others? Some made it to colony worlds and survived. Some we haven't found yet. But the Exodus sent out a signal when we activated it. That's how you found us. The other ships are coming too." Reeves turned away from the screen, his shoulders shaking. When he turned back, his eyes were red. 12,000 years. Everyone I knew is dead. My wife, my children. They were on a different ship. The Pioneer. You're telling me they've been dead for thousands of years." Marcus felt the weight of that grief. "I'm sorry, Commander. I truly am. And Earth? What happened to Earth? Earth survived. It healed. Humanity returned and rebuilt. We started over from the Stone Age, but we made it. We're thriving now. 7 billion humans live on Earth. We've colonized our solar system. We've joined the Galactic Council. We've built a future." "A future we're not part of," Reeves said bitterly. "You could be," Marcus said. "If you want to be, Earth is still your home. It's always been your home. We're not trying to keep you away. We want you to come back." Reeves looked at him for a long moment. Then his expression hardened. "But these aliens don't want that." "I saw them. Hundreds of different species in that chamber. They see us as a threat." "Some do," Marcus admitted, "because they don't understand. They think you're ancient warriors coming to reclaim territory. They're afraid of your technology, your weapons. You need to show them they're wrong." "Why should I?" My crew and I left Earth to save humanity. We sacrificed everything, and now you're telling me we wasted 12,000 years while aliens moved into our space. It's not your space anymore, Commander. It's everyone's space. The galaxy has moved on. There are 847 species in the Council. They're not enemies. They're neighbors. And humanity has learned to live with them. Counselor Vren's voice boomed through the chamber. Ambassador Webb, you waste time with negotiations. This ancient human threatens the Council. We should act now, before his weapons are fully powered. Reeves's face appeared on every screen in the chamber. Did he just threaten me? Commander, please, Marcus said urgently. Don't let anger make your decisions. I know you're hurt. I know this is impossible to process, but you have a choice. You can come home peacefully, meet modern humanity, see what we've built, or you can fight and destroy everything your mission was meant to save. He's right, Jack. A new voice joined the conversation. A woman appeared beside Reeves in the hologram. She was younger, maybe early 40s, with dark hair pulled back in a practical bun. She wore the same uniform as Reeves, but her insignia marked her as a science officer. Dr. Lisa Grant, she said, introducing herself to Marcus, second in command of the Remembrance. Commander Reeves is emotional right now. We all are. But we're not stupid. We can see you're telling the truth. The star positions are wrong for 63 days of drift. The Council's technology is too advanced. And those aliens watching us, they're real. This is real, she turned to Reeves. Jack, we didn't come all this way to start a war. We came to find Earth. We found it. Let's go home. Reeves closed his eyes. When he opened them, some of the anger had faded, replaced by exhaustion. What about my crew? 2,000 people on this ship. All of them think they left Earth 2 months ago. All of them have families they think are waiting. What do I tell them? Tell them the truth, Marcus said. Tell them their mission succeeded. They kept humanity alive. And now it's time to see what that means. High Arbiter Thune's voice resonated through the chamber. Commander Reeves, the Galactic Council extends an offer. You may approach Earth under escort. You will not be harmed. Your ship will not be fired upon, but you must power down your weapons and accept Council authority in this space. Do you accept? Reeves looked at Dr. Grant, then at his crew, then back at Marcus. If I do this, if I trust you, what happens to us? Do we get to go home? Yes, Marcus said firmly. You get to go home. All of you. And once you're there, once you see modern Earth, once you meet your descendants, you can decide what you want to do next. Some of you might want to stay. Some might want to keep exploring. But you'll have a choice. A choice. Reeves laughed bitterly. We haven't had one of those in a long time. He was quiet for another moment. Then he straightened his shoulders and Marcus saw the soldier return. Attention Council forces. This is Commander Jack Reeves of the Remembrance. We accept your terms. We're powering down weapons and preparing to follow your escort to Earth. But I want it on record that we're doing this in good faith. If you betray that faith, if you harm my crew or my ship, you'll discover that 12,000-year-old weapons still work just fine. Thune's crystalline body pulsed with colors Marcus interpreted as acceptance. Your terms are noted, Commander. Welcome to the modern galaxy. The channel remained open as Council escort ships moved into position around the Remembrance. Marcus watched Reeves's face, saw the mix of grief and hope and fear that played across it. Ambassador Webb, Reeves said quietly. What happened to the Pioneer? The ship my family was on. Did it survive? Marcus glanced at Raj, who was frantically searching through the Exodus's database. The xenoarchaeologist looked up, and his expression gave Marcus hope. Commander, Raj said carefully, according to the Exodus's records, the Pioneer made it to a colony world called Haven. It established a successful settlement. That colony existed for 6,000 years before its inhabitants migrated back to Earth through natural expansion. Your descendants are alive, Commander. They're on Earth right now. They just don't know they're your descendants. Reeves closed his eyes. And this time when tears fell, they were different. Not grief, relief. Then it was worth it, he whispered. All of it. If they survived, if they made it home, then it was worth it. Dr. Grant put a hand on his shoulder. Jack, we should tell the crew. They deserve to know. I know. Reeves opened his eyes and looked at Marcus one more time. Ambassador Webb, I'm going to hold you to your promise. You said we get to go home. I'm going to see Earth again, even if it's not the Earth I remember." "You will," Marcus promised. "I'll be there to meet you. And Commander, for what it's worth, thank you. You and your crew sacrificed everything for humanity's future. We won't forget that." Final. 3 months had passed since Commander Jack Reeves brought the remembrance to Earth. Marcus Webb stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Memorial Station, watching ships arrive from every corner of the galaxy. Today was the day, the official homecoming ceremony for all the lost colony ships. Behind him, the door opened. Captain Elena Kozlov entered, her dress uniform crisp and formal. "Ambassador, they're ready to begin. The delegates are waiting." Marcus nodded but didn't turn away from the view. In the distance, 5 massive ships hung in orbit around Earth. The Exodus, the Remembrance, the Sanctuary, the Horizon, the Dawn. 5 of the original 12 colony ships, each carrying crews who had been lost in time, now finally home after 12,000 years of wandering. "Are they ready?" Marcus asked quietly. "The commanders, the crews, are they really ready for this?" Elena moved to stand beside him. "As ready as they'll ever be?" "Commander Reeves has been helping the other crews adjust. It's not easy for them seeing Earth like this, but they're starting to understand. And the Council? Still nervous. But after 3 months of peaceful contact, they're coming around. High Arbiter Thune is already here. So are most of the major counselors. Even Vren showed up, though he's not happy about it." Marcus smiled at that. "Vren is never happy about anything." They walked together through the corridors of Memorial Station. The walls were lined with holographic displays showing the history of the 12 colony ships. Images of ancient Earth, of the long night, of the desperate evacuation. And then the long silence, 12,000 years of scattered humanity trying to find its way home. The ceremony hall was vast, designed to hold representatives from every council species, as well as the thousands of crew members from the colony ships. As Marcus entered, conversation died. Everyone turned to watch him walk to the central platform. High Arbiter Thune stood at the primary podium, crystalline body refracting the lights into rainbow patterns. The Arbiter's voice filled the hall when it spoke. "We gather today to witness an event unprecedented in galactic history. The return of 5 human vessels that departed Earth 12,000 years ago. Ships that carried our assumptions about humanity's place in the galaxy and returned carrying the truth." Thune gestured to where the 5 commanders stood together. Reeves, Grant, and 3 others Marcus had come to know well over the past months. Commander David Park of the Sanctuary, a quiet man who had spent most of the past 3 months crying over what he'd lost. Commander Isabel Chen of the Horizon, who had adapted to modern Earth with remarkable speed and was already helping design upgrades to human space stations using ancient technology. And Commander Robert Nwosu of the Dawn, who had taken one look at modern Earth and declared it the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. These individuals and their crews represent a humanity we did not know existed, Thune continued. A humanity that achieved greatness, faced disaster, and chose survival over glory. They dismantled their civilization to give Earth a chance to heal. They scattered into the darkness, carrying only hope that someday someone would return. The Arbiter turned to face Marcus. "Ambassador Webb, you stand as the voice of modern humanity. What do you say to these ancient humans who have returned to a world they no longer recognize?" Marcus stepped forward. He had prepared a speech, pages of careful diplomatic language designed to satisfy both the Council and the returning crews. But standing here now, looking at the faces of people who had given up everything for a future they would never see, those prepared words felt hollow. Instead, he spoke from his heart. "Commanders, crew members of the colony ships, I can't imagine what you've been through. You left Earth expecting to be gone for 5,000 years. You thought you'd return to the world you knew, to the people you loved. Instead, you found a galaxy that had moved on without you. You found descendants who didn't remember your names, who had no idea what you sacrificed." He paused, emotion thick in his throat. "I can't give you back what you lost. No one can, but I can tell you what your sacrifice meant. When you left Earth during the long night, humanity was facing extinction. Your ships, all 12 of them, were the only chance our species had to survive. And you succeeded." Marcus gestured to the holographic displays showing modern Earth. 7 billion humans live on Earth today. We've spread to 100 worlds. We've built cities, cultures, technologies, art, music, poetry. We've explored the galaxy and made friends with hundreds of species. We've created a future that would have been impossible without you. You are not forgotten, Marcus said firmly. You are not relics. You are the reason humanity exists. And now that you're home, we want you to see what you saved. Commander Reeves stepped forward. His eyes were wet, but his voice was steady. Ambassador Webb, 3 months ago, I was ready to fight. I saw all these alien species and thought they were invaders. I thought I needed to defend human territory. But Dr. Grant, she convinced me to listen, and I'm glad she did. He looked around the hall, meeting the eyes of alien delegates. I've spent 3 months learning about modern Earth. I've met my descendants, people who carry my DNA but never knew my name. I've seen what humanity built from nothing. And I've learned about the Council, about all of you, about how you welcomed humanity into the galaxy, even when you didn't know our history. Reeves turned to his fellow commanders. We're not warriors anymore. We're not defenders of ancient territory. We're just people who want to be part of what comes next. If you'll have us, Counselor Mira stood from her position. Commander Reeves, the Council has debated this question for 3 months. What to do with humans from 12,000 years ago? How to integrate people who remember a galaxy that no longer exists. It has not been an easy discussion. Marcus felt tension coil in his stomach. This was it, the moment that would determine everything. But we have reached a decision, Mira continued. The ancient humans will be granted full citizenship in their respective nations on Earth. They will have access to all resources needed to adapt to modern society. And their ships will be recognized as sovereign vessels with the right to travel Council space freely. Furthermore, the Galactic Council officially recognizes humanity's ancient heritage. Your species existed as a spacefaring civilization before the Council itself. This will be recorded in our archives and taught to all future generations. The hall erupted in applause. Marcus saw tears streaming down the faces of the ancient humans, relief and joy finally breaking through months of grief. Commander Reeves embraced Dr. Grant. Commander Park collapsed into a chair, shoulders shaking with sobs. Commander Nwosu laughed, a sound of pure happiness, but Mira wasn't finished. However, there is one more matter. According to your records, 7 more colony ships are still missing. The Council commits its resources to finding them. Every species will contribute to the search. We will bring all of humanity home. Counselor Vren stood now, and Marcus braced himself. But when the Kashrik's warrior spoke, his voice held respect rather than hostility. I argued against this decision, Vren said bluntly. I feared ancient humans would claim superiority, would demand special treatment. But I was wrong. You have shown humility and grace. You have taught the Council that strength is not about power or weapons. It is about sacrifice for the future. The Kashriks honor that. We honor you. The ceremony continued for another hour, with speeches from various delegates and crew members. But eventually people began to disperse. Marcus found himself alone on the observation deck again, watching Earth rotate below. Quite a day, a voice said behind him. He turned to find Elena standing there, a genuine smile on her face. It's not over yet, he said. 7 more ships out there. Who knows how long it will take to find them? We'll find them, she said confidently. We always do. That's what humans are good at, finding our way home. Ambassador Webb? A new voice interrupted. It was a young ensign from the Remembrance, no more than 20 years old. But for her, Earth was ancient history made real, yes? Sir, long-range sensors just picked up something. Another quantum signature, coming from beyond the galactic rim. It matches the colony ship's drive patterns, but it's not one of the 7 we're looking for. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. What do you mean? Sir, according to the signal analysis, this is a ship that's not in any of the records. The Exodus's database lists 12 colony ships. This would be number 13. Elena moved to the sensor station, pulling up the data. Her eyes widened. She's right. The signature is definitely a colony ship, but it's broadcasting an identifier we've never seen before. And Marcus, its message, you need to hear this. She played the audio. A human voice, female, speaking ancient dialect but translated clearly. This is Captain Yuki Tanaka of the vessel called Eternity. We've been traveling for a very long time. We've seen things beyond the galaxy. We've learned things about the universe that would change everything. But now we're tired. Now we want to come home. Is Earth still there? Is anyone still alive? If you can hear this, please respond. We just want to know if it's safe to come home yet, the message repeated. Marcus stared at the sensor data at this impossible 13th ship that shouldn't exist. He thought about 12,000 years of wandering, of ships scattered across time and space, of humans who never gave up hope of finding home.